everyone, welcome back to Reading with DeeDee, and this is me reading. Again, this is part 2 of Out of the Dust. We are going into the spring of 1934. We just went through the winter of 1934 with our good friend Billy Joe, and we know that the winter crops have been ripped out by the dust storm, so there's no chance of saving them. Her dad is considering taking a loan from the government to keep their farm going. These are tough times for Billy Joe and her family, and really everyone living in the 1930s, as we know. After Black Tuesday, things just went terrible. So we now are entering into spring, and we are going to see where this takes Billy Joe. Tested by dust. While we sat taking our 6 weeks test, the wind rose and the sand blew, right through the cracks in the schoolhouse wall, right through the gaps around the window glass. And by the time the tests were done, each and every one of us were coughing pretty good, and we all needed a bath. I hope we get bonus points for testing in a dust storm. Banks. Ma says everything we lost when the banks closed because they didn't have enough cash to go around, all the money that's ours is coming back to us in full. Good. Now we have money for a doctor when the baby comes. Beat wheat. County Agent Dewey had some pretty bad news. 1/4 of the wheat is lost, blown away or withered up. What remains is little more than a wisp of what it should be, and every day we have no rain, more wheat dies. County Agent Dewey says, "Soon there won't be enough wheat for seed to plant next fall." The piano is some comfort in all this. I go to it and I forget the dust for hours, testing my long fingers on wild rhythms. But Ma slams around in the kitchen when I play, and after a while she sends me to the store. Joe De La Flor doesn't see me pass him by. He rides his fences, dazed by the dust. I wince at the sight of his rib-thin cattle, but he's not even seeing them. I look at Joe, and I know our future is drying up and blowing away with the dust. Give up on wheat. Ma says, "Try putting in a pond, Bayard. We can fill it off the windmill. We've got a good well." Daddy grumbles. "Water'll seep back into the ground as fast as I can pump it, Paul. We'll dry up our well, and then we'll have nothing." "Plant some other things then," Ma says. "Try cotton. If we plant the fields in different crops, maybe some will do better than wheat." Daddy says, "No, has to be wheat. Grown it here before, I'll grow it again." But Ma says, "Can't you see what's happening, Bayard? The wheat's not meant to be here." And Daddy says, "What about those apple trees of yours, Paul? You think they are? Nothing needs more to drink than those two, but you wouldn't hear of leveling your apples, now would you?" Ma's bittering. I can see it in her mouth. "A pond would work," she says, sounding crusty and stubborn. And Daddy says, "Look, Paul, who's the farmer, you or me?" And Ma says, "Who pays the bills?" "No one right now," Daddy says. Ma starts quaking, but she won't let Daddy see. Instead, she goes out to the chickens, and her anger, simmering over like a pot in an empty kitchen, boils itself down doing chores. What I don't know. My teacher, Miss Freeland, is singing at the shrine along with famous opera stars from all over the country in a play called Madame Butterfly. I've never heard of that play. "Most everyone's heard of Madame Butterfly," Mad Dog says. How does that singing plowboy know something I don't? And how much more is out there most everyone else has heard of except me? Apple blossoms. Ma's been nursing those 2 trees for as long as I can remember. In spite of the dust, in spite of the drought, because of Mom's stubborn care, these trees are thick with blossoms, delicate, pinky white. My eyes can't get enough of the sight of them. I stand under the trees and let the petals fall into my hair. A blizzard of sweet-smelling flowers, dropping from the boughs of the 2 placed placed there in the front yard by Ma before I was born, that she and they might bring forth fruit into our home together. World War. Daddy was 17 when he fought in the Great War off in France. There's not much he's willing to say about those days except about the poppies. He remembers the poppies, red on the graves of the dead. Daddy says that war tore France up, worse than a tornado, worse than a dust storm. But no matter, the wild poppies bloomed in the trail of the fighting, brightening the French countryside. I wish I could see poppies growing out of this dust. Apples. Ma's apple blossoms have turned to hard green balls. To eat them now so tart would turn my mouth inside out, make my stomach groan. But in just a couple months, after the baby's born, those apples will be ready and we'll make pies and sauce and pudding and dumplings and cake and cobbler and just have plain apples to take to school and slice with my pocket knife and eat one juicy pear at a time till my mouth is clean and fresh and my breath is nothing but apple. Dust and rain. On Sunday, winds came, bringing a red dust like prairie fire, hot and peppery, seared the insides of my nose, the whites of my eyes, roaring dust, turning the day from sunlight to midnight. And as the dust left, rain came. Rain that was no blessing. Came too hard, too fast, washed the soil away, washed the weed away with it. Now, little remains of Daddy's hard work, and the only choice he has is to give up or start all over again. At the Strong Ranch, they didn't get a single drop, so who fared better? Ma looks out the window at her apple trees. Hard green balls have dropped to the ground. But there are enough left, enough for a small harvest, if we lose no more. Harvest. The combines have started moving across the fields, bringing in wheat, whatever has managed to grow. Mr. Tuttle delivered the first load to town, selling it for 73 cents a bushel. Not bad. Mr. Chafin, Mr. Haverstick, and Mr. French, they're delivered their harvest too, dropping it at Joyce City grain elevator. Daddy asked Mr. Haverstick how things looked, and Mr. Haverstick said he figures he took 8 bushels off a 20 bushel acre. If Daddy gets 5 bushels to his acre, it'll be a miracle. On the road with Arlie. Here's the way I figure it. My place in this world is at the piano. I'm earning a little money playing thanks to Arlie Wanderdale and his Black Mesa boys. They have the connections and keys in Goodwell and Texcoma. And every little crowd is grateful to hear a rag or two played on the piano by a long-legged, red-haired girl, and even when the piano has a few keys soured by dust. At first, Ma crossed her arms against her chest and stared me down, hard-jarred and sharp, said I couldn't go. But the money helped convince her, and the compliment from Arlie and his wife Vera that they'd surely bring Ma along too if she wasn't so far gone with the baby coming. Ma said okay, but only for the summer, and only if she didn't hear me gripe how I was tired or see me drag my back end around or have to call me twice upon morning. Or find my farm chores falling down, and only if Arlie's wife Vera kept an eye on me. Arlie says my piano playing is good. I play a set of songs with the word baby in the title, like my baby just cares for me and walking my baby back home. I picked those songs on purpose for Mom and the folks that came to hear Arlie's band. They like them too. Arlie pays in dimes. Mom's putting my earnings away, I don't know where, saving it to send me to school in a few years. The money doesn't matter much to me. I'll play for nothing. When I'm with Arlie's boys, we forget the dust. Flying down the road in Arlie's car, singing, laying our voices on top of the Beat Miller rice plays on the back of Arlie's seat, and sometimes Vera up front chirps crazy noises with no words, and the sounds she makes seem just about amazing. It's being a part of all that, being a part of Arlie's crowd I like so much. Just being on the road, being somewhere new and interesting. You'll find time, and they let me play piano too. All right, yeah, so that was a short one. That was the spring of 1934. Tomorrow we will go to the summer of 1934. But as you can see, Billie Joe is she's trying to find her place in this world, and she said it, it's at the piano. We're not growing enough wheat or, crops at all, really. And her mom's pregnant and, testy with her. Her escape is through music. And that is so relatable. It's relatable for all of us, whether you're playing an instrument or just listening. Escaping through music has been something we as human beings have done for centuries. So again, we see that it's easy to relate to Billie Joe. And she talks about the World War. Obviously she was born in 1920. For the Great War was from 1914 to 1918, and then it's 1934 right now. Pearl Harbor doesn't strike the United States until 1941. So she doesn't know much about war. All she knows is the pain of the dust storms. And I mean, these dust storms, like she said, it turns the day from the middle of the day till midnight. The sky goes completely dark. So even though she doesn't know war, she does know a lot of pain and suffering. And it's so relatable what she's going through. So again, tomorrow we will go through the summer of 1934, and that'll be a little longer. We'll kind of go through the crops and figure out where Billie Joe is. Is she still at the piano? So thank you again for joining us with DeeDee Reads Out of the Dust by Karen Hesse. Don't forget to buy it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.